Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Alicia, and if you're a returning subscriber, then welcome back. So today's video is going to be about how to apply to nursing school and basically any tips that I can give out to you guys. So if you guys do want to learn more, then please keep on watching. Okay guys, so how do you apply to nursing school is the biggest question. One first tip that I can give out to you guys is to figure out if you want to do your associates first or if you want to do your bachelor's first. I honestly think they are I can't really say they're the same thing, but you're going to either way, you're still going to be going into nursing school. So figure out if you want to do an associates first. Let's just say you want to do the associates first, so you're either way, you're still gonna go to nursing school, and then once you get past your NCLEX and get your license, then you can work as a nurse. And then half of the time the hospitals do end up paying for you to get your bachelor's online. That is a good thing of getting your associates, and also if you do not have enough funds in order for you to get your bachelor's first. Another thing is, if you do want to get your bachelor's first, is you'll go straight to it. You won't have to go back to school. So once you're done, you take your NCLEX and stuff like that, you get your license, you'll be good to go. I know there's a lot of people out there that say that, oh, like, you need to get your bachelor's and blah 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 because all the hospitals here are requiring it. Honestly, I would just say that do what works for you. Like, who cares what other people say? Because I've had people tell me like, oh, it's better to get your bachelor's and blah blah blah. The people that are in the associates program, they're not gonna get jobs. That is all wrong. I've seen people from the community college where I live, they're all getting their associates, and I've seen them all get good jobs in the hospitals in my area. So do not be doubting yourself because you're getting your associates first versus your bachelor's. So basically, I would say, to think about it and figure out what works for you. Now, not what works out because of what your friends say, but like what works out for you. So that is one tip. The second tip that I can give out to you guys is, once you guys have figured out if you're going to be getting your associates or bachelor's, I would say to do your research on that school that you're going to be getting your associates or bachelor's. There is public schools, and I know there's private schools. One private school that I know about is Chamberlain. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Chamberlain. And it is expensive. I was gonna go to Chamberlain if all my options did not work out, but at the end of the day, I did end up getting accepted into nursing school. But I would just say to do your research and figure out what school you want to go to. Do you want to go to a public school or do you want to go to a private school? If you want to get your bachelor's degree out of the way and you don't mind going to a private school and paying all that money and taking out loans, then do what's best for you. So like, let's just say you are going to the associates. So let's just say you're going to be going to community college. I would say do your research. What is required? What are the prereqs? When can you apply to nursing school? Do they require the T's? Do they require the HESI? How many biologies do they require? In my area, there's only 3 biologies. There's only 4 biologies that they do require. They require a biology course, anatomy, physiology 1 and 2, and microbiology. That is like the only biologies that they require in my area. They do require some English classes, some math, fine arts, a communications class, and then either psychology or physiology class, and that's about it, which is like not really a lot. So it really just depends on, like how I said, what degree you want. And let's just say you do want to go straight to a bachelor's. I would recommend for you guys to do your research. Like how I said, I did my prereqs at community college just because it was cheaper. In other areas, it might be the opposite. It might be the same price in order for you guys to do your community college or the community college or the university. So like how I said, so that's what I'm saying, for you guys to do your research. So I know the bachelor's, they do require more classes. They do require the classes that I did mention in order for you to apply to nursing school with your associates. They require statistics course. They require a chemistry class with a lab. They also do require, so they require like some sort of language class, and also it really depends on your school. For my school in my area, they did require us to take a nutrition class and for us to take a pathophysiology class. So like I said, do your research, because every school out there is different, but that's how it is, you know, in my area. So once you guys have figured out, you know, your game plan on what classes you're going to be taking, and if you're going to be transferring, let's just say you want to transfer from your local community college to the university, I would say to please email the advisor where you're going to be transferring to. There is a lot of you know, resources out there. In my community college, they did have, like, you know, a transfer, they did end up having, you know, like a transfer advisor. I would recommend for you guys to go there. If you guys are planning to transfer from your community college to your university, I would recommend for you guys, you know, to set up an appointment with them, just so they can give you a sheet on what school, on what classes are able to transfer and what classes do not transfer. Because I made like this huge mistake where I would take a class and it wouldn't just not transfer. And I've seen other people too, like that some of their classes would not transfer, that they had to retake classes and stuff like that. So, you know, make sure that if you are going to be signing up for classes, to make sure they are going to transfer, because you guys do not want to be going to a university and the next thing you know, like, you're missing 2 classes and you're not going to be able to apply to nursing school. So please look out for that. So another tip that I have for you guys is to have a game plan. Basically, you know, to figure out when are you going to be taking your classes, how many classes you're going to be taking, are you going to work, do you have other are you in clubs, do you have like a social life and stuff like that, to figure out what classes you're going to be taking each semester until, you know, you are good to apply to nursing school. So, you know, try not to give yourself such a workload. I know there's people out there that do perfectly fine if they're taking 5 classes and 2 biology courses at the same time. But if I were you guys, I would rather take fewer classes and do good in those classes than take so much classes and so much biology courses together and do poorly and have to retake those classes. So, you know, you know, that's what I'm saying, to make a game plan. And, you know, if you know that you don't do good in biology courses, that you will need more help, or like you will need more help with the math or the statistics course, I would say, you know, to just limit yourself from taking so much classes when you're going to be taking those classes during your semester. And I know there's people out there that, you know, they do perfectly fine, they take up to 16 credits with 2 biology courses, they get straight A's, and then they tell you, oh, I got straight A's, and, you know, you'll be fine. But deep down, you guys need to think about it, if you're going to be able to do all that workload, because it's a lot. Biology classes are a lot. You do have labs, they require so much studying, and also your biology courses are what count more on your nursing application. So that's why you guys have to make sure you guys do good in your biology courses. Another tip that I would give out to you guys is to not compare yourself to others. That's what I did last year, and I didn't not really so much talk about it on my channel, just because, you know, I was, you know, super negative. I would compare myself to other students that were already in the nursing program, and, you know, I would tell myself like, oh, I would have already been in my 3rd semester of nursing school, like I would have already been graduating. You know, I feel like everybody has their own time on when they're going to be starting something new in their life. And I feel like for me, it just was not my time for me to start nursing school like the past 2 years. So, you know, do not get discouraged. Don't compare yourself to others. Like, your time will come, and when God wants you to start nursing school, you'll start nursing school. So please do not get discouraged if you do not get accepted into nursing school. So another tip is to figure out when your nursing applications are due. In some areas, applications are only due like twice a year. Other areas, it's only once a year, and other areas is 3 times a year. So it really just, you know, depends and what type of program you want to apply to. I know a lot of programs out there, they do full-time or part-time track for nursing school. Every school out there is different. In my area, they do have full-time and part-time just at the state college and at the community college. At the university, it is fast paced. So, you know, it really just depends. If you do want to go to university, are you going to be doing it in the 18 months, which that is fast paced, or are you going to be doing it in 2 years, which is 4 semesters, and you get summers off? Or are you going to be doing it part-time, where it's going to be 8 semesters versus, you know, before, and you are not going to have summers off. I feel like it all just depends on your schedule and how you are going to succeed in nursing school. Another tip is to please figure out if your school has a point system in order for you to apply to nursing school. In my area, they did have point systems at the community college and at the state college, and also at the university. They recently started doing point system. So what point system is like, once you're filling out your nursing application, it'll tell you like nursing application. I do not have mine, so I can't really tell you because they took it off the website. So is there a point system, like how many points are my biologies worth? I know biologies are worth a lot of points, and what classes do you need, and what classes are required in order for you to submit your nursing applications. Half of the time you can have pending courses, half of the time you cannot. So it really just depends. It really just depends at your school. I know at the community college you can have pending courses, but you cannot have your biologies pending. Also for the state college, it is the same thing. You can have pending classes, but they cannot be the biology courses. Like, you have to finish your biologies before you even apply to nursing school. I do not know how it works in other schools, but that's how it is, for the schools in my area. So, I would check with your advisor, ask them. Half of the time they'll tell you, half of the time they will not tell you. So do your research. Another tip that I can give out to you guys is to not just go off what your advisor tells you. So I know that everybody has a pre-nursing advisor. I did have advisors. I would go to the community college. I would go, to the state college. I think I had like around 2 different advisors at the state college. I had one advisor that literally, you guys told me that I would not make it to nursing school. You guys will have those advisors. Like, you will have advisors telling you that you won't be able to make it to nursing school, that you should switch your major. That you should switch your major. And you guys do not know how bad it would make me feel, just because I would just be like, why would they think that I wouldn't be able to make it into nursing school? If you know that you want to go into nursing school, set your mind to it, and prove all your advisors wrong. I had that one incident with that advisor. I ended up switching to a different advisor. She told me, I was good to go to applying to nursing school. She would tell me, oh, get these grades in these classes and you'll be good to go. So, figure that out. Like how I said, don't base everything off of your advisors. Ask your classmates, what classes they took, what professors they took. Also, that is a huge thing. Look on ratemyprofessor.com, to check out your ratings for your professors. Also, one thing also really just depends on your professors, how they teach. Sometimes you'll be getting, bad professors, and I've gotten bad professors, and I've heard from advisors that no matter if you do end up getting a good or bad professor, it really just depends on if you're willing to put in the work in order for you to get the grade that you want for that class. So go off of that. And I know there is people out there that don't really do so well in their biologies. Like for me, I did having to retake anatomy physiology too. That class was just really hard for me. And probably people that are watching this are probably like, oh, this class was super easy for me. But like how I said, I've always said this before, like, everybody learns different. There's people that are going to struggle. You are going to struggle in doing your prereqs. I am not going to lie to you guys. Like, I struggled a lot, and I'm not just saying it just for you guys to feel bad for me, but I've also, met other people that have struggled in their prereqs. And do not get discouraged or none of that. Another tip that I can give out to you guys is to figure out if your school's competitive or not. Like, what semester they're more competitive. In my area, the state colleges are usually, the state and the community college are usually more competitive during, for the fall semester. I feel like that's like when it's the most competitive. And also, the summer semester for the state college was competitive, just because, it was 18 months. I think they did end up switching out the 18 months from the state college. So, figure that out. I applied during the spring just because in my area, that's when, like, not a lot of people apply. And majority of the time, the people that didn't get accepted into the fall are going to be applying to the spring. So, take that. So, figure out when your school is the most competitive. Also, check allheart.com. And you know, on allheart.com, basically there's students that might be in your area that, you know, just start a discussion post, and they post like, oh, who applied to this school, how many points did you apply with, and stuff like that. And it's basically, you know, tells you when they start accepting people, when calls start coming in, when you get your rejection letter and stuff like that, you know, how early you can apply. You know, like how I said, just do your research. Also on Facebook, there's Facebook group pages. There might be Facebook group pages, you know, just check that out if there is. At my community college there is. That's how I would keep track of everything. You know, I would ask questions that I had regarding nursing school and stuff like that. And you know, there will be people out there that, you know, that would want to help you out. So just do your research. Another tip that I can give out to you guys is to do good on your T's and study. I know I did not do like how I studied for the T's, just because, you know, I feel like a lot of people out there compare themselves and they're like, oh my god, well, I got an 80 on the T's, well, I got a 90. Oh my god, you got a 60% on your T's. Did you not study? Like, that was so easy. Let me tell you guys, the T's for me was hard. You know, I struggled. I'm not gonna lie. I know I did not make a video about this just because, you know, there's like so many videos out there, and you know, my score was just not, you know, the best compared to other people. But don't compare yourself to your scores. Figure out what score your school requires. Every school out there is going to be different. For the state college, they required us to get a 58.7 for overall. For the overall score. At the community college, it was, you had to get an 80% in reading, and the rest of math, science, and English had to be 60%. And the T scores were basically off of points. So I feel like that's what also makes it, you know, competitive. So figure out how you want to study for the T's. Stick with a schedule on how you're going to study for it. I would recommend for you guys to study for it for like 3 months. I studied for a month and I felt like I was still not prepared. Just because, you know, you have to review your anatomy physiology. You have to, you know, figure out what are your weak areas. Or is your weak area in reading? Do I need to spend like several weeks on it? Do I need to do a ton of practice tests? But for me, I studied a month and I felt like I was just not prepared. And I know there's other people that, you know, that study for 2 to 3 weeks and they're perfectly, and they end up getting a good score. But you know, like how I've always said, everybody's different, everybody learns different. There will be times where you feel like you just do not know nothing, and that's how I felt when I took the TEAS test. I was like, I don't know nothing. Like, what did I study in that month? Like, I felt like I would have, you know, had more time to study for it. So if you're planning to be taking your T's, I would have around 3 to 2 months for you guys to study for the T's. Also, another tip is to figure out how many attempts you can take on the T's. So at the state college, I was only allowed to take the T's twice, and twice for every 2 years, which, you know, is a bit, you know, crazy. And if I did not do well on my first attempt, I had to wait a total of 3 months in order for me to apply once again. And if I did not do good on my second time, and I decided, you know, to retake it, my second score would be the one that would count. My third, fourth, or fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth score would not count at all. So, you know, make sure how many attempts you have, when can you retake it, what is the time frame, how many years do you have to wait in order for you to retake your T's. At the community college, they had a total of 6 attempts for you to take your T's. And basically, if you did not pass in those 6 attempts, you had to wait a total of 6 years. So every school out there is different, you know. Also do your research, ask your advisor, you know, how many attempts you have for the T's, and you know, what is the time frame that you can take the T's. But like how I said, for my community college, we could take it, let's just say I had to take my T's this Saturday. I could go back in like another 4 days and retake my T's, and you know, but it would count as, you know, as another attempt. Like, I did not have like a time frame like how I had for you know, the state college. Another tip that I can give out to you guys is to turn in your application early. You know, figure out when your application is due. Did you already take your T's? Like, what is, you know, your plan? Let's just say, I know for a lot of people in March or April is when they need to turn in their application in order to start for the fall of 2020. So, you know, did you already take your T's? Like, you have 2 months to take your T's. Is there any T's days open? That's another thing. Take your T's early. I totally forgot. Take your teas early just in case if you do have to retake your teas, you have enough time to study and review the material that you did not do so well on in order for you to retake it. So let's just say you did horrible on your first try, and you know your application due date is coming up, and you're just like, oh well, I'm just gonna retake it just because, you know, I have to apply to nursing school because I want to start nursing school right now. It really just depends on you. Do you think that in 2 weeks you'll learn all that material that you missed if you put on the study, if you do put on the study time? Or do you think that you'll just wait until September or October to apply to start next year, and you will do better on the T's because you'll give yourself enough time to study for the T's until your next application date is due? So it really just depends on you. So from that is like, you know, from like, if you are going to be turning your application early, figure out what's required. Is your application, does your application require for you to get your transcripts? Do they require for you to get your CPR? Do they require for you to have your vaccinations? Do they require for you to have your T scores or your HESI scores? Every school out there is different. Do you have to handwrite your application, or do you have to do it on the computer and print it? Do I need to turn it in person? Do I need to email my application to the advising? Like what do I do with my, you know, with my application? Once it comes up on your nursing school website, just print it out. You either print it out, or you know, you go on a computer screen and, you know, you just type it. And then once you've done all the requirements, you've checked it, you signed it, go with your advisor. I know like a lot of people don't really go with their advisor just because, you know, like they don't really know. But I'll recommend for you guys to go with your advisor before you turn in your application. Why? Because they would literally, you guys go check your application step by step, and they'll be like, okay, this form needs to be on top first. Oh yes, you did end up completing all of this. Look, you did end up completing this. Oh wait, you're missing this. You forgot to you know, put the date, or you forgot to write down the correct letter. Oh, this letter does not qualify. Or like, oh, you repeated this class 3 times. Well, I'm sorry, you can only repeat your biology 2 times. It states it on the application. They will basically, you know, tell you, and they'll be like, okay, you're all set, your application looks good, you know, you can turn it in. So check with your advisor, go with your advisor, you know, they'll be more than likely, you know, to help you, and they'll tell you if you're missing anything. And you know, that is like, you know, I feel like that is a good thing, and not really a lot of people, you know, talk about it. But you know, it's like of things that, you know, I've learned, because you know, when I did want to apply to the community college, you know, I would set up an appointment, I would talk with my advisor, and I would tell her like, oh, I need you to check my application because, you know, I want to apply to nursing school. And they'll tell you, and then you can like, you know, tell them like, oh, how many people applied last semester, how many people got in, how many people didn't get in, like how many people applied in total, how many people got in, and you know, how many people got into the full-time track, or how many people got into the part-time track. Majority of the time the advisors, you know, will tell you that, and I feel like they should tell anyone. And also, you know, it does tell you like how many people they accept every round when you check what is required for in order for you to get into the school's nursing program. So, you know, look out, you know, for that. Another tip is to not get discouraged if you do not get accepted your first time. So I don't know if you guys are new to my channel, but I did end up getting rejected twice. And I know a lot of people, you know, will talk or whatever. I really do not care. But, you know, I feel like it's life. And, you know, I'm not afraid to, you know, tell you guys that I failed in order for me to succeed and got accepted into nursing school. Like, I just did not give up, you guys. Like, of course, you know, I was discouraged, and like, you know, I would tell myself like, is nursing really for me? Like, should I change my major? But then, you know, I thought about it, and I was just like, what? I'm just, you know, gonna keep applying, figure out other options, and you know, I'm still gonna try. Like, if I want to get into nursing school, I want to get into nursing school. So, you know, do not get discouraged if you don't get accepted your first or second time. You know, just keep applying, figure out, do I need to retake any classes, do I need to go to a different school, or you know, do I want to go to a private school? You know, do what works for you, and don't get discouraged. Like, everybody fails in order, to succeed. And if you want to go into nursing school, don't give up, and keep applying, keep trying, retake classes, and apply, and you'll get accepted. Another tip is to not tell no one when you are applying to nursing school. I don't know if you guys are, like, aware. I am Hispanic, so I do believe in, like, like that. I do believe in, like, when people that do not want you to succeed. So basically, te dan el ojo. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with that word, but basically, people that hate you and don't want to see you succeed. Just like the evil eye. Yes, that's what it's called, the evil eye. And for me, the first 2 times that I applied, I would tell anyone that would ask me. Like, I would tell my family, and I feel like somebody ended up giving me el ojo, and I just did not get accepted. So yeah, so if you are going to be getting accepted into nursing school, don't tell no one, keep it to yourself, and pray, and just wait. And basically that's what I did for the 3rd time that I did apply. I didn't tell no one, not even my boyfriend, not even my parents, none of that, just because I was like, I don't want to get bad vibes from anyone, and them, like, giving me the evil eye or something. So I applied. I didn't tell anyone, and next thing a couple weeks passed, and I got the letter in the mail. So also look out for that. So I think that is all the tips that I can give out to you guys. I know this video was long, like always, but I always want to be real with you guys, and always want to give you guys the best tips and things that I have learned from me doing this pre-nursing. And basically, I do want to give you guys, any tips and things that I've learned. And that's basically all the things that I have learned throughout all these years from me being a pre-nursing major. And, now I'm a nursing major. I do start nursing school next week, so I am quite nervous to even start. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. And, if you did end up watching until the end, thank you. And of course, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, follow me on Instagram, and if you guys do have any video recommendations, leave them down below. And yeah, that's basically it for today's video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, you guys.